If you're anything like me, you've probably spent countless hours researching all of the homeschool curriculum options that are out there before you chose to purchase something for your kids. Am I right? Today I'm going to walk you through the 5 questions that I ask myself on a regular basis to make sure the curriculum that I chose is still a good fit for my kids. And if it's not, maybe it's time to ditch that curriculum. Hey, thanks for joining me here on my channel today. I'm Erin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids ages 3 to 11. If you're new here, my channel is all about finding ways to find peace and joy in the journey of motherhood and homeschooling. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing so you get more content just like this. It's so easy to be tempted by all of the other homeschool moms out there that post these amazing images and stories about curriculum that is just perfect. It hits all the marks and it's amazing. And so you feel like you have to get it. You have to rush right out, get that thing, and then you get that thing and wah, wah, wah. It's just not all it was cracked up to be, at least for you. Can anyone relate? Drop me a comment below and let me know that I'm not the only one. In order to have peace and joy in this journey of homeschooling, it's so important for us to be flexible. If we find things that aren't working or that are causing stress or that are making us butt heads with our kids, it might be time to reassess how we're doing things or the tools that we're using. Sometimes that means we might need to completely ditch the curriculum that we've been using and find something that might be a better fit for our family. In this video here, I talk a little bit about how we roughly follow a 6 weeks on, 1 week off schedule for our homeschool year. This allows me to have regular breaks all throughout the year so that I can assess where we're at with our school and think through these 5 things that I'm going to share with you about how our curriculum is working for us. And if it's not working for us, then we try something different the next time around. I encourage you also to give yourself permission to do something different if what you're doing is not working for you. It's not worth the struggle and the stress and the fighting and the drudgery if something isn't the right fit. So let's jump in. The first question I ask myself is this curriculum enforcing my core values and goals for our homeschool? Education is so much more than just stuffing in a bunch of facts in order to pass a test. Charlotte Mason said, "We must bear in mind that growth, physical, intellectual, moral, and spiritual, is the sole end of education." If you haven't already considered what your core values and goals are for your homeschool, I encourage you after this video, just take some time and think through those things. What are those things that you want to make sure that above all you are instilling in your children? This is the perfect time to think about it, pray about it, write it down, and have it to look back on as a reference for when times get a little bit tough, because they're going to. Unfortunately, that's just the fact of life. We go through times that are tough, and it's good to have that blueprint laid out for us to really just kind of draw back and make sure that what we're focusing on is the main thing. We may each have different ideas about what that main thing is, but the important thing is to just keep that thing in mind for you and make sure that the tools and the resources and the way that you are doing things is accomplishing those goals that you have for your own kids and your homeschool. The second question I ask myself is, does this curriculum fit my child's learning style? When our kids are little, it can sometimes be tricky to figure out how they learn, but as they grow and the more time that we have invested in them, we can kind of begin to identify their particular learning style, and then being able to choose a curriculum that provides them the best tools that they need so that they can learn and grow the way that their brains specifically work. If you're not familiar with the learning styles, there's 4 kind of main learning styles. One being visual, meaning they like visual aids. They like to see things like maps and charts and things like that for the information to be able to stick into their brain. The second one is auditory learning. So they like to to learn by hearing things, by listening to lectures or podcasts or audio programs. That's the way their brains just soak up the information. The third way that was kind of new to me when I heard about it is the reading and writing style, which is actually what I am. So when I heard that, I was like, yes, finally, I feel like I fit into something. These types of kids learn best when they read something and then write it down. That connection by reading and writing together really makes things stick into their brains. A fourth learning style is the kinesthetic style, and this is where kids really need a lot of movement and a lot of hands-on activity in order to process and retain the information that's being presented. If you find that your child is just getting really bored or really frustrated, or the information is not seeming to stick, then maybe it's time to ditch that curriculum and find something that is more in their avenue of learning style. The third question to ask is, does this curriculum fit my teaching style? So just like our kids all have different learning styles, we also have different teaching styles. And if the curriculum that you're using doesn't fit the way that you particularly like to teach or the way that works for you, you're going to tend to find yourself a lot more stressed out or anxious or feeling frazzled, and that's not a good place for anybody in the house. There are so many different teaching styles out there. I'm just going to kind of brush over a couple of them so you can think through some of the possibilities that are out there. One of them is the teacher-led style, which is where this is kind of a traditional setting where the teacher or the homeschool parent is the one that's teaching the lessons. It's often lecture style or using workbooks where you are the one telling your children what they need to learn and what they need to know. A second style is being student-led. And this method fits best with parents where they want to have a little bit of structure, but also allow the kids a little bit more freedom in choosing some of the things that they want to learn about, or having just more input in how they want to learn those things. So really, it's just kind of more involving the kids in the process of their own education. A third style of teaching is technology-based style. And this is more along the lines of an online class or using a curriculum that utilizes a computer or a tablet or using apps. This style is geared best towards where parents might not feel comfortable teaching a higher level academia, and so they utilize technology-based programs to make sure that their kids are still getting the education that they need. There are a lot of variables that go into choosing a teaching style, and a lot of particularly homeschool families choose to kind of follow an eclectic approach where they choose a variety of these different styles in order to teach their families. As you go through the year, I just encourage you to think about, is the curriculum that you're using fitting the way that you like to teach, or is it stressing you out? If it's stressing you out, maybe it's time to try to find something different. The fourth question I ask myself is, are we enjoying this curriculum? Granted, there are some things that we do have to do just because we have to do them. I'm looking at you, math facts. There can be a fun way to do some of those even really tedious or monotonous tasks. We just have to do the research to find a way that's going to work for our kids and make it enjoyable. One of the most valuable assets that we have as homeschoolers is the freedom that we have to choose how we want to teach our kids, what we want to teach them, when we want to learn it, and where we want to teach them those things. Our children are all unique, created beings that have different learning styles, different approaches, and different things that interest them and excite them. And the beauty of homeschooling is we can find curriculum that inspires them, that makes them light up, and that they enjoy. And when they're truly enjoying what they're learning, you better bet that those are going to be things that they remember all the rest of their life because they had fun learning it. When we have fun learning things, it truly becomes our own. We can claim it for ourselves, and that's when our kids truly become educated and not just taught. And if you get bored reading that curriculum, you can better bet that your children are gonna be bored too. I'm just saying. The fact of the matter is, if you're enjoying the process of teaching and learning alongside them, then they are going to have so much more fun learning the material that you're presenting as well. If you find yourself constantly saying, we just have to do this, we just have to check it off, we have to get through this list, it's just something that we have to do, then maybe it might be time to find something different. The fifth question is my child growing in knowledge? Obviously, as homeschoolers, we want our children to be learning things. Our children all learn at their own pace and at their own level. The most important thing is to make sure that they're growing from where they started at the beginning of the year to where they are at the end of the year. This may mean that they might be behind a level in a certain subject, or maybe they're 2 levels ahead on a different subject, and that's okay. It took me several years of stressing out about my kids being on grade level. And when I finally got to the point where I realized that that's kind of arbitrary, test scores are not a true and real indicator of how smart a child is. And they certainly can't measure our children's wisdom and their character. You will find so much more peace in your homeschool if you don't allow yourself to be a slave to that curriculum and that checkbox list, but you give yourself the freedom to truly just teach your child on the level that they're on and allow them to grow and develop in the areas and the ways that God created them to. If you find that your child is really struggling in a certain area, maybe they're not a 2nd grade level in math. Maybe they need to step back 1 year and build on the knowledge that they have so that then they're not getting frustrated and burnt out and stressed out about their schoolwork. Or maybe your child is just flying through the lessons in the curriculum you're using because it's just too easy. Maybe then it's time to bump it up a level. That's okay. Find what's going to work best for your kid for the sake of your child and the sake of your homeschool. So that was my 5 questions that I ask myself about whether or not this curriculum is going to be a good fit for me. Please comment below and let me know if there's one of those questions that you hadn't thought about that you're going to now start asking yourself as you move forward with your homeschool. So now, what do you do if you find out that it's time to break up with your curriculum? First thing that you can do is put it on the shelf for later. Maybe you just need to take a pause for a little while, try something different to brush up on some skills so that they can get to the level where they're ready to continue on where they were at with that particular curriculum. Keep it because you bought it, right? So you don't want to just throw it in the trash. Keep it for later for another use. A second option is to let someone else have it or let them borrow it for a little while and utilize that resource that you have. Another option is just to sell it. You could sell it at a homeschool consignment store or sell it online somewhere like homeschoolclassifieds.com, where you can get some of your money back then to reinvest in a curriculum that's going to be a better fit. So now you found that you've gotten rid of the old curriculum and you need to find something new. So some of these options are very similar to the ones before. One of the routes you can do is see if you have a friend that has a different curriculum that you might be able to just look through or to try out for a little while to see if that style or that curriculum is going to fit for your child, and then maybe you can just borrow it for the rest of the year. Another option is just to skip curriculum altogether. Just read a bunch of living books. You could just go check out at the library if you wanted to and get those options for free, and then sit and notebook and write down facts and information and things that we learned through the reading that we've been doing. Another option is to just purchase used curriculum from, again, a consignment store or online somewhere like homeschoolclassifieds.com, where you can find used curriculum at a really great price, and then you save yourself some money not having to buy it brand new. So I encourage you, just sit down and think through the curriculum that you're using. Ask yourself these questions and make sure that what you're doing is going to be the right fit for you and for your kids. If it's the right fit for both of you, it's like magic, and things just come together and they work out, and there's so much more peace and more joy in your homeschool. I hope there was something in there that helped you out a little bit. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up below, comment below, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I post new videos, and also share this out with anyone you think might find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.